You know what's funny about love? We spend so much time talking about butterflies and chemistry and connection, but nobody really prepares you for the moment when you realize you've been playing two completely different games the whole time. This is a story about that moment, about Emily Chen, a 34-year-old marketing director who spent 6 years building what she thought was a partnership, only to discover she'd been funding someone else's lifestyle the entire time. Let me take you back to where this all started to unravel. It's a Tuesday night in March, nothing special about it really. Emily's in their Brooklyn apartment, the kind of place with exposed brick that costs way too much but looks great on Instagram. She's just gotten home from another 12-hour day, still in her work clothes, heating up leftovers because she's too exhausted to cook. Her boyfriend, Marcus, is on the couch, scrolling through his phone, looking at vacation destinations again. "Babe, what do you think about Santorini in May?" he asks, not looking up. Emily's stirring her soup, and she's tired. Not just physically tired, but that deep-down exhausted feeling you get when you've been carrying weight for so long, you've forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight. "We talked about this, Marcus. I can't take time off in May. It's our busiest quarter." He finally looks up, and there's this expression on his face. She's seen it before, but tonight, something about it hits different. It's disappointment mixed with entitlement, like a kid who's been told he can't have ice cream for dinner. "You always say that. What's the point of making all that money if we never enjoy it?" And there it is, that word, we. But see, here's the thing Emily's been trying not to think about for the past 2 years. There is no we when it comes to money in their relationship. There's Emily's salary, Emily's savings, Emily's credit cards with the high limits because she actually built credit, and then there's Marcus, who talks about our money while contributing absolutely nothing to it. But tonight, she's too tired to let it slide. "Marcus, when's the last time you actually paid for one of these trips?" He sits up now, defensive. "Wow, okay, so we're keeping score now? I thought we were partners. I thought what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. Except you don't have anything that's yours." The silence that follows is the kind that changes things. You know those moments in relationships where you can't unsay what you just said? This is one of them. But instead of backtracking, instead of smoothing it over like she usually does, Emily just stands there, soup forgotten, waiting. Marcus puts his phone down, and when he speaks, his voice has this edge to it she's never quite heard before. "You know what? You're right. Let's be completely honest for once." He stands up, walks over to the kitchen island, leans against it like he's about to deliver some kind of rehearsed speech. And honestly, maybe he has been rehearsing this. Maybe he's been waiting for the right moment. Or maybe he's just finally saying out loud what he's been thinking for years. "Emotionally, you're kind of a mess, Em. You're anxious, you're controlling, you work all the time, and when you're home, you're not really here. You're always on your laptop or worrying about some deadline. The only thing you're actually good for in this relationship is paying the bills." Emily feels something crack inside her chest. Not her heart breaking, that's too romantic, too clean. This is more like watching a building you've been maintaining for years suddenly show you all its structural damage at once. Every beam you shored up, every crack you painted over, every foundation issue you ignored because you were too busy to deal with it. "Is that really how you see me?" Her voice is steady. She's surprised by that. "As a paycheck?" Marcus shrugs, and that shrug might be the worst part, the casualness of it. "I mean, yeah, let's not pretend this is some great love story. You needed someone who made you look good socially, and I needed, well, you know what I needed. It's been a fair trade." A fair trade? 6 years of her life summed up like a business transaction? And the really messed up part? He's not entirely wrong about what she got out of it. Marcus is charming, he's good-looking, he knows how to work a room. When they first met at that gallery opening, he made her laugh in a way she hadn't in years. He introduced her to his friend group, got her out of her apartment, out of her own head. She'd been so focused on building her career that she'd forgotten how to just exist in the world. But somewhere along the way, she'd started paying for that companionship. First, it was just picking up the check at dinner because he was between projects. Then it was covering his half of the rent because his freelance design work was slow that month. Then it was the trip to Tulum and the new MacBook he needed for his portfolio and the gym membership because we should invest in health and the car lease because how else am I supposed to get to meetings? Except there were no meetings, there were no projects, there was just Marcus living the life of an Instagram influencer without the followers and the income, funded entirely by Emily's 60-hour work weeks. She looks at him now, really looks at him, and sees him clearly for maybe the first time. He's wearing the designer sneakers she bought him last month, the watch she got him for his birthday, even his haircut is from that expensive place in Soho that he insists is worth the money. Okay, Emily says quietly. Okay, what? Okay, if that's how you see this, then we should probably end things.
She expects him to backtrack, to apologize, to say he didn't mean it. But he just nods, looking almost relieved. Yeah, probably. But we should wait until the end of the month, right? I've got that thing with Derek in LA, and the flights are already booked on your card. And that's when something in Emily just clicks into place, a clarity she hasn't felt in years. Sure, Marcus, end of the month. Totally fine. He actually smiles. Cool, I'm gonna head to Jake's for a bit. Some of us are getting together to watch the game. After he leaves, Emily sits on the couch in the same spot he'd been occupying, and she starts laughing. Not hysterical laughter, not crying laughter, just this genuine amusement at how absolutely ridiculous the situation is. She's been working herself to death to fund the lifestyle of a man who just told her the only thing she's good for is money. She picks up her laptop, opens her banking app, and that's when Emily Chen stops being the woman who lets things happen to her and starts being the woman who makes things happen. First, she looks at the credit card statements, all of them, and it's worse than she thought. In the past 6 months alone, Marcus has spent $47,000 on her cards. $47,000. That's almost her entire savings for the year gone. Restaurants she's never been to, bars she's never heard of, clothes, electronics, even cash advances. She opens a new checking account at a different bank, transfers her entire savings. Then she calls payroll, has her direct deposit switched to the new account. Then the credit cards. She's an authorized user on some of his accounts from years ago when they first started getting serious and he'd convinced her it would help his credit. She removes herself. Then she looks at the cards where he's an authorized user on her accounts, the ones with the high limits that he's been treating like his personal slush fund. She starts making calls. It's almost midnight, but her bank has 24-hour customer service. She's never been more grateful for that. Hi, yes, I need to remove an authorized user from my account. Yes, immediately. Marcus Sullivan, and I need to lower my cash advance limit to 0. And actually, can we put a hold on any charges over $100 without my explicit approval, just for the next week or so? It takes her 3 hours to work through all the accounts. By 2 in the morning, Marcus exists in exactly one place in her financial life, as a name on the lease they both signed, and she'll deal with that in the morning. She doesn't sleep much that night. Instead, she makes a list, all the things she's paid for that she'd told herself were investments in their future, the things he promised to pay her back for once this next project comes through, the loans to his friends that she fronted because it would be weird if I couldn't help them out. The sun's coming up when Marcus finally comes home, smelling like beer and cologne that she definitely paid for. He doesn't even look at her as he heads to the bedroom. Emily goes to work, acts completely normal. In her lunch break, she meets with a real estate lawyer about the lease. Turns out, if she pays out the remainder of the lease term, the landlord is happy to let them both out of it. It's expensive, but it's cheaper than 6 more months of watching Marcus live off her dime while he figures things out. That evening, Marcus is getting ready to meet some friends for dinner. Emily's working at the kitchen table, laptop open, like always. "I'm heading to Maria," he says, checking his hair in the hallway mirror. "Don't wait up." Maria. That's a $300 a person restaurant, at least. Emily doesn't say anything, just nods. An hour later, her phone rings. It's Marcus. There's something wrong with the card. It's being declined." "Which one?" "All of them. I tried 3 different ones." "Huh, that's weird. Maybe fraud protection? Sometimes that happens with expensive restaurants." "Well, can you call them? I'm literally standing here in front of the waiter and this is embarrassing. I'm in the middle of something for work. Can't you just, I don't know, use your own card?" The pause on the other end of the line is almost funny. "Emily, come on. You know I'm waiting for that payment from the freelance thing that's been about to come through for 8 months. Yeah, look, I really can't help right now. Maybe ask one of your friends to cover you." She hangs up. She's not angry. She's not even particularly emotional about it. She's just done. Over the next few days, Marcus tries every card. At coffee shops, at the grocery store, trying to buy sneakers online. Every single one is declined or has a limit so low it might as well be declined. His cash advance ability? Gone. The joint checking account he'd been treating like his personal slush fund, she's moved everything except the exact amount needed for his half of the bills that are actually in his name, which amounts to about $93. She watches him spiral, watches him start making those calls. To his parents, who apparently cut him off years ago, to his friends who suddenly aren't answering texts, to that buddy who's always talking about his startup who mysteriously stops returning texts. What the hell is going on? Marcus finally confronts her, 3 days into his new financial reality. Why are all the cards blocked? They're not blocked, I just removed you as an authorized user and lowered my limits, for security purposes. Identity theft is such a big thing these days. Don't play dumb. This is because of what I said. You're being vindictive. Vindictive would be reporting all those cash advances you took out for fraud. Vindictive would be calculating exactly what you owe me over the past 6 years and taking you to small claims court. This is just me taking your advice. What advice? You said the only thing I'm good for is paying bills, so I'm going to focus on that, paying my bills, not yours. He stares at her like she's speaking a different language. This is insane. We live together. We're partners. Are we? Because a few days ago you made it pretty clear what you think this partnership is. I'm just agreeing with you. So what, I'm supposed to just figure it out on my own? After 6 years, you're just cutting me off? Emily sets down her fork. Marcus, genuine question. What exactly did you think was going to happen? Did you think I'd just keep funding your life forever? That I'd work 12-hour days while you, hang out with your friends? Pretend to have a career? You're 36 years old and you haven't had a real job in 4 years. I'm building a portfolio. I'm networking. That's how creative work works. You wouldn't understand. You're right, I don't understand how someone can spend $47,000 in 6 months without producing a single piece of billable work. The number hangs in the air between them. He goes pale. Yeah, Emily continues, I looked at the statements, 47,000, and you know what? That's just the cards. That's not the rent I've been covering, or the car, or the utilities, or the groceries, or any of the other things I've been paying for while you build your portfolio. I was going to pay you back. When? With what money? He doesn't have an answer for that. Of course he doesn't. I paid off the lease. We're both released from it as of the end of the month. That's 2 weeks. I'm moving to a studio in my friend's building. You'll need to figure out your own living situation. You can't just... I can. I did. The lawyer already processed it. You'll get the official notice tomorrow. That night, Marcus actually tries. He signs up for Indeed, updates his LinkedIn, and sends out a few resumes. Emily watches him discover what she already knows, that 6 years out of the workforce with nothing to show for it doesn't exactly make you a hot commodity, that saying you're a freelance creative consultant when you have no clients and no portfolio is just a fancy way of saying you're unemployed. She watches him network his way into something, anything, watches him call in every favor, reach out to every contact, and she watches as he realizes that all those friends he'd been buying drinks for with her money, they weren't really his friends, they were hers. The connections he thought he had, they were interested in her, the woman with the stable career and the corporate connections, not him. A week before move-out day, he tries a different approach. He apologizes, says he was stressed, says he didn't mean it, says he knows he's been taking advantage but he's going to change. He cries, actual tears. "I love you. I know I've been terrible, but I love you and we can fix this." Emily's packing up her books, wrapping them carefully in newspaper. She doesn't stop what she's doing. "You love what I provide. That's not the same thing. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Spending 6 years of my life with someone who thought the only valuable thing about me was my bank account. You know what's not fair? Working myself to exhaustion while you criticized me for not being fun enough, not being present enough, while simultaneously spending every dollar I earned. You never asked me to work that hard." Emily actually laughs at that. "No, you just asked me to pay everything. The only reason I had to work that hard was to keep up with your spending." He leaves. She doesn't know where he goes. She doesn't particularly care. On moving day, Emily's new studio is a third the size of the old apartment, but it's hers. Every piece of furniture, every dish, every book.
She's not splitting anything with Marcus because, as it turns out, he didn't actually own anything to split. Everything in their apartment, she'd paid for it. Her friends help her move. Real friends, the ones who'd been gently suggesting for years that maybe Marcus wasn't pulling his weight. The ones she'd been too defensive to listen to. "You doing okay?" her best friend Sarah asks, handing her a glass of wine in the new place. "Honestly, I feel lighter than I have in years." And it's true. She does. It's not just the financial relief, though having her full paycheck back, not watching it drain away on someone else's brunch habit, is pretty incredible. It's the mental space. She's not constantly calculating whether she can afford to say no to him, not running numbers in her head every time he mentions wanting something, not feeling guilty for being selfish when she wants to save money instead of spending it. 6 months later, Emily's sitting in her studio on a Saturday morning. She's not working. She's just sitting, drinking coffee, reading a book for pleasure. Her savings account has more in it than it has in 4 years. She got promoted. She's been going to therapy, working through why she let that relationship happen in the first place, why she equated love with financial support. Her phone buzzes. It's a message from an unknown number. She almost doesn't open it, but curiosity gets the better of her. It's Marcus. He's moved back to his parents' place in Ohio, found a job at an advertising agency. Entry level, but it's something. He's sorry. He gets it now. He wants her to know he's working on himself. Emily reads it twice, then deletes it. Not out of anger, just because she's moved on. That version of herself who thought she had to buy love, who thought being useful was the same as being valued, who worked herself to death for someone else's approval, she doesn't live here anymore. She picks her book back up. Outside her window, the city's waking up, and for the first time in 6 years, Emily's weekend is entirely her own. No one to subsidize, no one to enable, no one to convince her that financial exploitation is the same thing as partnership. And you know what? It feels pretty damn good.